Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we go down to Columbiana Clipper Country with the boys basketball head coach Todd Johnson joining me. Coach Johnson, how we doing on this fine morning?
Oh, I'm doing well, Ty. How are you?
Not too bad. And I gotta figure you guys are pretty excited and not doing too bad yourselves in these practices. Looking over at your roster, Coach, seems like you only got a pair of seniors, but you got a lot of guys that are going to be for presumably returning in the future. But a lot of excitement, I think, in that junior class. It looks pretty big. Why don't we shout out some of these big names that we're going to see coming back this season? Maybe some new faces we got to get used to in Clipper Country.
Yeah, so I mean, we do return three of our starters from last year, and Ian Less, Alex Eusebio, and Devin Doherty. They played a lot of varsity time, started games for us last year as sophomores. We do have two seniors, Aaron Markham returning, as well as Joe Guido joining us this year as well. So couple of kids that have really put in a lot of off-season work. As Maddox Brown is someone who we're excited about and excited to see how he continues to grow. Cameron Clancy as well in that junior class is someone that is continuing to come up, as well as sophomore Seth Straharek has actually had a very nice offseason and has put his name into the mix.
Looking at this team too, going from last year to this year, what were some of the key things you wanted to see grow and develop in the offseason? What were some of the things, I guess, the offseason talks that you've had with this team going into this year?
Well, I mean, so some of our boys do play fall sports with football, and we have some cross country runners and things of that nature. So, we've had some great open gyms. We've had some great talks, and we had a great summer, great June. There's that old saying, you can't win games in June, but you can lose them. But we had great buy-in from our kids that way. Thing to continue to improve on for us is going to be outside shooting. Obviously, we graduated a good senior class this past year. A couple of kids who could really shoot it from the outside. So that's been a focus so far at our practices, is continuing to develop that.
You guys were a very solid team last year, 11-11 in the regular season, pushed Rootstown in the tournament, 10-4 though in the conference, and I think that's one of the keys that you guys can focus in on, bringing back a decent amount of players from a year ago and just being a little bit younger. What have the talks been like amongst the coaching staff on what needs to be done? What's the next step that needs to be taken to try to get a hold of an EOAC crown?
Well, we had some games that were tight that we were able to pull out last year. We had some games that the ball didn't bounce our way in some of those games as well. So it's just continuing to learn how to finish games. We competed well for the most part in all of our games, especially in league play as well. But it's just that learning to finish, learning to finish at the end. And when you have some younger guys, like we did last year with some sophomores, you're going to have growing pains at times. So as the maturation continues, you do hope that, some of those same mistakes that were made last year are not followed through this year.
Are you a firm believer of success breeding success? Because I've seen a lot of these names familiar to me because I've seen them on the baseball team. Like you said, I've seen some on the football team as well. Baseball team being successful last year, football team getting a string of wins to end their season. I mean, it's a great way to build confidence going forward. Are you a believer of success breeding success? And have you noticed a mental shift or a difference from last year to this year amongst the guys?
Well, so, our kids, football team did a great job finishing strong. As you said, the baseball program has always been strong here at Columbiana. So, just to have that mentality, I guess, of being successful is always a good thing. We've had great competition in practices so far. We have kids that are consistently pushing each other. Iron sharpens iron. So kids are going to continue to push and strengthen each other, and ultimately, that will continue with success in our basketball program.
Now, you can't obviously replace a player like Nick Millian, right? It's kind of impossible to do so, but you got to try to make up that production somehow. What are the talks been like with the team? Because I know it's not necessarily, you can't be last year's team. You got to be your own identity this year. But what have the talks been like with a team, and how you guys are going to make up that kind of production around the floor?
Like you said, you can't replace Nick. Nick's besides what he did on the court, he was our leader. He was our vocal leader, both in our off-season workouts and during the season, during practices, stuff like that. So right now, during the beginning part of practices and everything, I'm excited to see who's going to take that step for us. Who's going to be our emotional leader? We've had a couple of different boys step up and show that maybe they could take that role on. You're not going to replace. It's very difficult to replace one individual, 19 points a game, and everything that Nick brought to the table. But we have multiple boys that can step up. We have multiple boys that on any given night could be that points leader or stuff like that. As you know, though, basketball is more than just points. So we got some boys that I feel that are going to continue to well-round into their game. Looking at our starters from last year, Alex, Devin, and Ian, I think they're going to continue to grow. And that Maddox, like I alluded to, is going to continue to grow as well. Bringing in Joe, Seth, Cameron, Aaron Markham, those 8 guys I'm looking at right now as someone that can continue to grow and pick it up a little bit to replace the production we lost last year.
We all know the challenges the EOAC presents, but I mean, I'm looking over your schedule, and I like a lot of these non-conference games. I mean, it looks like Beaver Local, McDonald, Struthers. These got to be games you're excited about. What are some of the things you're looking to test the boys with these particular matchups that you think are going to be beneficial before a tournament?
Well, so our non-conference starts right after actually Black Friday. That's the first time for us now that in my now tenure at Columbiana that we played on Black Friday. So that's going to present a challenge of its own. And we go to Mineral Ridge, which I know they're excited about the new coach and everything they have bringing in, and they're young and hungry. So that'll be a good test for us to start. And then Beaver Local is our home opener. That's a good one as well. Coach Miller's been doing a great job at Beaver and getting his kids prepared. We go to Sandy Valley this year. That's a haul for us. They came to us last year, and that's a good program. Edison coming in, they had success on the football field. So as you alluded to, success breeding success. I'm sure they'll be ready to go. Looking forward to the Heartland tournament. First time we're doing it this year with McDonald and Lordstown and Heartland. So 4 good teams getting after it. And like you said, there towards the end of the year, Struthers playing at Struthers. That's going to be that's a step up, bigger school and stuff like that. I'm excited to play in the field house. I'm excited for our kids to play in the historic field house and have that environment. And then to close out of Jackson Milton. Jackson Milton was a good team last year. Coach does a great job up there, and I'm sure that'll be a great test for us to get ready for tournament time.
It feels like this season, compared to the last couple, it feels like we're finally getting back on track to a sense of normality again. It feels like a normal basketball season we're gearing up for. Talk to me about just how that feeling's been amongst the coaching staff, amongst the players too. I mean, you've coached through the COVID year. Last year, it was like 50% back, but it still felt a little bit off. But it feels like we're right back on track and into a sense of normalcy. What can you say about that?
Well, I'm going to knock on wood and say that we can hopefully continue to be in that sense of normalcy. You never know. You never know what's going to pop up. But the great news is like you said, we're in that sense of normalcy now. And now, besides worrying about other distractions or what else could happen or the other shoe to drop and something to cancel, we can just focus on basketball now. Kids can just focus on playing the game that they love. So that's been the breath of fresh air, I guess, so to speak, that you can walk away from in having that.
Did COVID cause you guys to have to battle through some numbers in the younger ages, and have you guys recovered from that, or how have you guys battled through it?
So a couple of years ago, COVID really hurt us when we had this junior class. We're then freshmen. We lost 37 practices, and we were a bunch of freshmen back then. Had a couple of seniors as well. So just missing those reps, those valuable reps throughout the season, really struggled with us. So we were pretty lucky last year that we were able to avoid that for the most part. And you're always worried about sickness and injury and stuff. And hopefully we're going to continue to dodge that bullet and be okay this year.
What are the characteristics of being a Clipper? In other words, what do you hope that these boys would say it meant to be a Columbiana Clipper after they graduate and are done with their time with you?
Dedication, hard work, attention to detail. Those are some things we preach and practice every day. Just continuing to show up and put your best foot forward. And I got 19 young men this year that are playing basketball that they're doing everything we ask right now, night in and night out at practice. And we have some grinding practices. We have some tough practices in order to prepare for our league schedule as well as our non-conference schedule. So just having that characteristic of being a young man to be counted upon and to show up and give your best foot forward is something our kids should hopefully take away from when they leave our program.
Coach, I always like to make sure that we meet the staff year in and year out. I know sometimes there are changes, sometimes they stay the same, but they're just as important to the program. So shout out your staff and some other big names in the Clipper program.
I'm excited this year as well about our middle school boys staff. We have two boys that used to play for me. Ryan Foz is going to be our 7th grade coach, and Quentin Cross is going to be taking over our 8th grade. So they do a great job. They bring a lot of energy, and the exciting part for me is they've been through our program, so they know what's the expectations as kids move up towards high school and how to teach it. And then I'm lucky and blessed to have our high school staff still intact. So Coach Diego Valator, Coach Matt Liggett, Coach Jeff Hammond, and is going to be on staff as well. So this is our, I want to say our 4th year together. So that's to have that longevity and to have that being together for that long really does pay dividends.
Hopefully with that Columbiana community back in the gym, we could hear that Clipper clap at full force again. Why don't we promote this team real quick before we get out of here, Coach, and let that Columbiana community know what they can expect from this team this year and why they should get out and support them.
We've always had great support from the Columbiana community. We appreciate the community come out and supporting us, and they're going to see a group of hungry young men. They're going to leave it on the floor night in and night out. So we're going to hustle. We're going to run. We're going to play hopefully good solid defense, and just give them a sense of pride and sense of community that as always we preach to our boys that we play for the front, not for the back. So we're always playing and representing both on the floor and off the floor our community in Columbiana.
Yeah, you should get out there and support the Clipper basketball program, certainly. And if you can't, you can, of course, catch them on ysnlive.com this season for absolutely free. Thanks again to our wonderful sponsors. This has been another edition of Coach's Corner with head coach Todd Johnson from the Columbiana Clippers boys basketball program.